Good morning, Salibonani. This is the Weekly Affair. I'm Sikhangele Ngwenya. Today we're going to be talking about school children to find out how they were doing during the COVID-19. Check how they were affected by online learning. Today I have Sydney. Mr. Sydney, welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
Please tell us briefly about yourself.
Yeah, my name is Sydney Ngwenya. I'm 15 years old, and my hobbies, I'd say I like watching anime, I like cycling, playing games, playing with my friends and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah.
Thank you for that. So, in your own experience, how effective is online learning?
I'd say it's partly effective. Subject, you can always go back to the topic and re-watch the video, but sometimes it's ineffective because sometimes Wi-Fi may be wacky, and also CESA isn't always there. So yeah.
Okay, so would you say there are benefits more than the disadvantages of learning online?
No, I wouldn't say that. I'd say that there are more disadvantages in doing online than benefits.
Okay, would you share some of the disadvantages?
Yeah, disadvantages, I would say that when it's online learning, you can't really talk to the teacher because sometimes when you send a comment or a message, they'll be busy. So after they actually see the message, it'll be a while after they actually respond to the message.
So you were missing going to school during the COVID lockdown?
At first I was actually I actually enjoyed it because we were at home and stuff, and also you knock off early. But then over time I felt isolated. It was now boring just going through the same thing over and over again. So I was missing school, yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you were missing about school?
Well, basically my friends.
Okay.
Yeah, basically my friends, because when it was now online learning, I wouldn't be able to speak to my peers, and also the fact that there was no sport, you couldn't really do any sports since there was no school set. So yeah, that's what I would say.
Okay, there are so many things that are online. So how did you make sure that you stick to your studies and not other things, like maybe watching stuff on YouTube, on Facebook, and things like that? How did you manage all the pressure that comes with?
But then after that, I just stopped. So I'd sometimes usually I'd ask my sister to block some of I was working in the dining room, so they could easily come and see if I was doing the right thing. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you understand about mental health? Because there are so many young boys like you who end up doing drugs, who end up committing even suicide. So how would you explain mental health according to you?
I'd say mental health, it occurs when someone goes through pure pressure, peer pressure, when their peers are trying to force them to do stuff, and then they also do it so that they can be associated with.
Some teenagers were saying that it was annoying because they spent a lot of time with their parents. So was this the case with you?
Sometimes, but then yeah. My parents were supportive, so I would talk to them sometimes about all my problems. And yeah, I also had
how was
my studies and stuff, yeah, and also helped me to, and also
So what were you doing with these other extra hours?
With these other extra hours, sometimes you would study or something, right? But then really it was just I'd actually not do anything, so it was really just a boring period. So yeah, they wouldn't all the time because they also had to do their stuff. So yeah.
Okay, so how are you excited about going back to class right now?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited. It's now back to face. I'm catching up with my friends. Yeah, like we caught up with some we caught up with some animes that we were suggesting each other.
So were you happy with the amount of work that you guys were given online? Was it too much? Was it less? Did you feel like you are lagging behind in some of the subjects?
Yeah, I think I was lagging behind in online. Like there were as a good amount of subjects, but then it wasn't really enough to actually make sure that you're on time. So yeah.
And your participation, like it was one way, or there was an opportunity for you to actually interact with your teachers or your peers, or discussions, or it was just teachers sending work and you guys sending back the answers?
Like sometimes there would be like interactions with your peers and your teacher, like on meets. Like there would be Google Meets, so like you'd register, you'd sign in, join the meet.
Are you able to share with me your experience around issues of being supervised by your parents in doing your schoolwork and making sure that you get everything correctly? How was your experience?
Yeah, because like it would be like 3 times, so then I was like, let me just not. Yeah, but yeah, sometimes they would actually see me doing my work, and stuff, and they would also help me with some of the subjects that I had problems with.
Is what?
The other half was that
you confident they're the best people to supervise you. Did it cause any tension between you guys, or it was like how your relationship is like right now?
It was like how our relationship is right now. Like there wasn't too much tension, so like yeah, it was an okay vibe.
Okay, that's good. So now that you're back to school, and I've told you that some of your age mates were doing drugs and they got into wrong things, the girls got pregnant, what would you say is your lesson that you learned during COVID-19?
I'd say that my lesson is to like be careful, like with what you do, and like watch yourself when your peers like try to make you do something. Like you should always like do the right thing, and you shouldn't like do the wrong things or something that may look cool or something like that. So yeah, that's what I
parents do better, the teachers, the schools do better, and even your age mates.
Yeah, I'd say to the teachers, right? To like always to the teachers to like always keep their chats on the private comments, and also like fix problems with some things, because like sometimes you won't actually, the teachers should watch the private comments and try to fix the problems. And I'd say to my peers to just work hard, to not really get stressed about all these things. The children are going through like tough times and stuff, because like it is quite miserable to just be doing the whole thing over and over again. So I'd advise the parents to like help people, to like help their kids through their problems. Yeah.
So from your interactions with your friends after lockdown, what are some of the lessons or some of the challenges that they went through? Maybe things that you did not go through.
Yeah, like some of the challenges that they went through, and some people they didn't really understand some of the subjects. So like when we came back, they were behind, and they had to like try and fix everything. So yeah, that's what I'd say that would be the problems at my other.
Thank you, Mr. Ngwenya, for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching The Weekly Affair. Stay tuned for the next segment. Is Angie, Sydney's mom, telling us how she enjoyed supervising online learning during COVID-19. Welcome to the program, Angie.
Thank you for having me.
Maybe as a start of point, tell me about your greatest experience supervising online.
Supervising online was quite challenging because it was something new, and you know, as most of us parents are now used to letting the teachers take over when it comes to our children learning. So it was quite a challenge, because now we had our children at home during a time when it would probably be a bit quite challenging.
It was quite challenging. But Sydney did mention that you were very supportive. Of course, here and there you'd be whipping out a few things. So, in your own view, do you think online learning is effective?
I think to a certain degree it could be effective, but I think there were a lot of teething problems since it was something that was really thrust on us with the COVID situation. I think maybe going forward, if there were more, there's more interaction.
Some of the challenges on your part as a mom, considering that help Sydney, but you're also doing other things.
Yes, definitely that put a lot more pressure because you had to juggle all the duties that you have at home and to be able to monitor. And it was a challenge because like he mentioned, you have to make sure that he's actually in class. So it was a bit of a challenge, but the good thing was that the teachers were quite responsive in terms of they would get in touch with you, they'd call you if your child was not in class. So there was quite a bit of screaming back and forth to find out why are you not in class and things like that. Yeah, and like you mentioned also the issue of ZESA sometimes, and also the network, our Wi-Fi network was also some of the challenges that we came across.
So would you say face-to-face is way better in terms of kids conceptualizing and actually attending and be part of the class, or online is better since you get to spend time with your children? And what would you rather have?
I think face-to-face by far is better. Face-to-face, obviously, because like I said, there were a lot of teething problems, and also with our Wi-Fi, it's not very good, so sometimes kids wouldn't have access. So yeah, in that respect, and obviously on a selfish note, we as parents, we want them back in class and out of the house.
Okay, so how clear was the communication from school concerning learning for children and stuff like that?
Okay, it was, I could say they tried in terms of where they would each teacher would report on their subject as to if he's handed in his work, if homework has been done, and if there was any work that he hadn't done, they would mention to say, this is still outstanding. So there was that which helped us to sort of keep up with the child and make sure that he did any homework that was outstanding. But I think it got more difficult in terms of the teachers actually interacting with the children on the platform. I mean, I suppose my own thinking is that so many kids and the one teacher, for him to get back and at the same time trying to mark the work that's been handed in, those could have been some of the challenge, along obviously with the technology in that the Wi-Fi might not be up to scratch on a particular day, things like that. Yeah.
Okay, so some parents were complaining about the work that the children were being given, and some parents ended up actually doing the work for the children, especially for the juniors. Was this the case with you? Like, what kind of support did you give to Sydney?
Well, it was a bit difficult to give much support because you were really led by what they were given by the teachers. So it would really be a question of still depending on the internet for such things and whatever notes they would have. So Sydney being in Form 3, I mean, it's not like a junior school, it's relatively easy. I mean, some of the questions at Form 3 will have you stumped as well as a grown-up. So yeah, it was a bit challenging, yeah.
So for you, it was just supervising, making sure that the work is done?
Yes, it was it was definitely mostly just making sure he's actually attending the classes, the lessons, and handing in the work.
Okay.
Yeah.
So reports show that the approach that was used by the schools, like the online learning, is elitist, where other parts of the country, they are not learning at all. Some are learning and they're actually going ahead, writing their exams, passing, and so on. What is your comment on that?
Oh, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. We do have some relatives whose children were who are not in private schools, and definitely they would be sitting throughout that lockdown period. We did try to get some teachers who could be giving them extra lessons. I know there was a lot of WhatsApp lessons where teachers would send via WhatsApp, but again, it's according to whether the child has the phone, has the smartphone, and has the funds to buy the data and things like that. So absolutely, there was definitely a section of the population that was disadvantaged because of that.
So how concerned are you about the students' academic growth right now, recovering from COVID-19?
I'm a little concerned because when they did go back to school and we got the first report card, you could definitely tell that your child had gone down a little in terms of each of the lessons. So there was definitely a drawback because of the online lessons. But you know, kids tend to be resilient. So that support is still ongoing in terms of extra lessons where we can. I know the teachers in the schools are also trying to push them a little more and give them more work to try and catch up. But definitely the concern is there. Yeah.
And since kids were spending most of their time online, what are some of your worries then now?
Oh, definitely one of the biggest is, like he says, he loves anime. So then watching other things other than the lessons, and you know, us as parents also, unless if you're tech savvy, some of us are not very tech savvy, so these kids will always find ways. So there's definitely a worry in that, you know, what exactly is my child engaging with online that I don't know. We do try and check up and try and see history to see what sites he's been on, but I'll tell you, the kids will always find a way around it. If you're not on top of your game when it comes to technology, they'll definitely you know, get you running in circles.
So that was your greatest fear?
Yes, absolutely.
So you're happy that they're now back to school, no more?
I am relieved. Let's just put it that way.
I wonder how many parents are feeling like you. So what would you say are some of the lessons that you learned, like spending so much time with your child? Probably you last spent so much time with him when he was still 0 to maybe 1 year. So
I think it gives you a better appreciation on what it means to be a parent. Definitely, I learned that. Yeah. And I also learned that, you know, whilst it was comfortable for me to just send him off to school and let the teachers figure it out, it definitely makes you realize that you have to play a more intense role as a parent, as a supporting role. Because I think the teachers have a lot. I mean, if you are having stress with just the one child, imagine a teacher with 30, 40 students in a class. So it definitely gave me an appreciation on that.